Today, on Nexus Talk, we discuss the ins and outs of WildStar's path system, and you make me want to staple bagels to my face and remove them with a pitchfork. Howdy folks, welcome to the very first episode of Nexus Talk. My name is Richie, aka Bogotter, and this show is all about the upcoming MMO, WildStar. Now today's the very first episode, but before I get into today's topic, I just wanted to thank everybody who submitted name entries for my contest to actually name this show. The contest is now over, and the winner, who is Arawulfthegamer, the first person who actually sent me a comment that had Nexus Talk as the suggested title. This is a T-shirt. I will be contacting you shortly and sending this on its way. Thanks to everybody who submitted things. There was an honorable mention. The Nexus Natter was a very close second. I thought that was very clever, and it had the alliteration in there, but I thought more people would just identify with Talk, since I had Tyria Talk videos and Tamriel Talk videos already. And there was also another one that really made me laugh. I just want to mention Nerds Gone WildStar was another funny one that I wasn't really considering as the winner, but definitely made me chuckle. So thanks again to everybody, and let's just get on with today's topic. Today's topic, I'm going to be talking about the path system that is in WildStar. And it's funny, when I was thinking about what to talk about first, I was like, why don't I just do a what is WildStar kind of like overview of the main features of the game? And then I realized, well, they kind of did a trailer. Carbine Studios did a trailer themselves that what is WildStar, and they'll probably do a much better job than I ever would. So I'm going to put the link in the description to that video, What is WildStar? If you want to know the high-level features of the game, go there. Today we're going to be talking about the path system. I'm going to be jumping as in-depth as I can, because we don't know all of the information, and just kind of giving my thoughts about it. So what is the path system? The path system is something that you choose when you're creating your character. You create your character, and you choose a class and a race, and very standard, but you also choose one of 4 different paths for your character. And this is it's basically going to tailor how some of the content, how some of the content is delivered to you when you start playing this MMO. So it's based loosely on a Bartle test, which is a behavioral test that was given to MMO players to kind of put them into buckets of what kind of content they enjoy. And the results of this test, and you can kind of find this test online and take it for yourself. And some people argue the validity of it, or the poignancy of it. But they put gamers into 4 different buckets: killers, achievers, explorers, and I'm cheating here because I forgot the 4th one, socializers. So it puts those into kind of those buckets. So Carbine Studios and WildStar, they took this kind of idea and they modified it a bit, and they came up with the path system. And it's basically 4 different paths you can choose. The ones they have in the game are soldiers, settlers, explorers, and scientists. And when you choose this for your character, there's actually a progression system, and there's different content that you're going to kind of go through. So the 2 that they've revealed trailers for are the soldier and the explorer, and I can go into more depth about the 2 of those. The other 2 we don't have a ton of information on. So let me kind of explain how this works. Let's say you choose the soldier path, and you can be any class and any race and pick the soldier path. What you're going to notice right away is some of the content in the very first zone is going to be tailored to the soldier. So you'll get missions like, for example, you'll get a SWAT mission. And that means you're going to be testing some new, cool, unique, technology weapon type thing on some hapless victim. And you will, if you succeed in the mission and test it successfully, you'll get some, rewards for that. And another type would be something like an assassination mission, where you have to take out some sort of special NPC or a mini boss of some sort. There are also going to be kind of, these conquer kind of missions or protect missions where you're surviving waves of enemies, and, you're just trying to hold a control point or protect an NPC of some sort. And some of these sound like they can, be kind of like public quests, right? So if you spawn this conquer mission to control this point and waves of monsters are coming out, I guess other players that are around you can jump in and kind of help with it. So that seems kind of cool. So that's kind of, I'm cheating here again. I got some notes here. Looking at the soldier, there's also a rescue op where it kind of sounds a little bit escorty, where you're trying to keep somebody safe. And that kind of wraps up what the soldier is all about. Now, the explorer is someone who's going to want to look at the whole world, and they'll see something off in the distance and figure out, how can I get there? So the types of missions that the explorer will have, they'll have vistas. All right, if you're familiar with Guild Wars 2, you kind of know how this works. There's usually some sort of jumping puzzle or a unique path you have to find to kind of get up to a point where you're going to have a really cool view. There's one that's called Claim Territory, where you're actually staking claim by placing flags all around a map and kind of getting 100% map completion. You're also going to be able to find secret doors. And they're not all literal doors, but just secret areas that you'll uncover. I actually, when I was in PAX East, I played WildStar, and I picked the Explorer path, and I actually found one of these secret doors. There was a patch on the ground that I could interact with, and all of a sudden a hole opened up in the earth, and I was kind of ported into an instance where I had to kind of explore this cave network, and there were monsters to fight and different things to try to figure out how to get out of. But while I was in there, the challenge quest kind of appeared, because I killed one of these like space tiger cat things, these feline enemies, and it instantly popped up on my screen and said, hey, if you can kill like 5 more and within 3 minutes or something, you'll get extra rewards. So I actually failed at doing that, but so it was interesting that I was already in one of my Explorer content kind of instances where I had to flush out and figure out how to get out of this cave network. But I also got this challenge mission on top of it. So that's another thing that explorers will do. Trying to see what else. There's Power Map, which is kind of like this really vertical jumping puzzle type thing. The one video you could see, they're kind of like using these little mini tornadoes to kind of fling themselves up in the air. And there's one that's kind of like a scavenger hunt where you're looking for clues all over the map and trying to figure out certain mysteries and stuff like that. So those are the 2 that we have trailers for and know a lot about. The other 2, the scientist is the person who likes lore, right? They're going to go around, they're going to scan different creatures, scan different objects, interact with objects in the world, and they're going to unlock tidbits of lore. Now, every player can find lore items in the world and kind of unlock their little in-game encyclopedia thing, right, where it fills in the lore, but the scientist apparently will get more information than other players, so that's pretty cool. And it's not all going to be about scanning stuff. You're going, one example they gave is you might be able to interact with a turret to have it fire on enemies and stuff like that. So it's not all just bookworm type activity. And the last path, which sounds probably the most out of the box, is called the Settler. And these are the people who want to socialize and help other people the most. And a lot of their content comes with interacting with other players. So a couple examples that they've given in different interviews and stuff like that was, you can actually build things onto quest hubs or towns and stuff like that to kind of add more features to that quest hub or town. So I don't know a specific example, but you can assume maybe different vendor types or access to different places and stuff like that can be added on to a quest hub by players, and then there's going to be some sort of maintenance that it requires. So settlers will have to constantly work on these things to keep these benefits active. Jeremy Gaffney gave us an example at PAX East. I went to the WildStar panel where he said that what's interesting about a settler is they can give like a buff to players in the form of a campfire. Maybe they can build a campfire, and for every player that clicks on that campfire, you get experience points. Now, the unique thing about this is if, like, let's say, for example, you're an explorer and you want to figure out how to get to that vista up on that mountain, well, you can kind of look up on YouTube, and shortly after release, they'll have all of the guides and the videos that you can just figure out how to do that. You're not going to be able to just look up online, where's the best place to put this campfire to get the most players the buff, because once there's a best place and everyone puts their campfire there, well, then your chances of somebody clicking on your particular campfire are significantly reduced. So it's going to be this kind of fluid, dynamic kind of thing where players are going to really have to use their creativity to figure out, all right, where do I need to place this campfire to get a lot of hits on it? So I kind of like that. We don't know a lot more about settlers, but that kind of is really intriguing to me, that kind of social interaction type mechanic to it. Now, I mentioned a couple times settler experience, or you'll get rewards and stuff like that, and there is a progression path for each of the paths. You will actually level up independently of your character level in these different paths. and you'll unlock different things. And some of the things we've seen that you can unlock are like abilities. I think, for example, the Explorer can unlock ability to basically run faster. There's some sort of speed boost in there. You can also unlock titles that are specific to your path, and like cosmetic skins for your weapons and armor, and mounts as well. So there's definitely an incentive. There's definitely a reward progression system in there. And yeah, so that's kind of what we know. Now, I also heard at the panel that there are going to be some ways to kind of help each other doing these different missions. The one example that was given was if you're an explorer and you find a hidden area, the scientists can come in and kind of scan it, and since the explorer kind of helps with it, it actually goes a lot quicker and stuff like that. And they call these kind of interactions crossing paths, which I think was hilarious. So there is some sort of interaction and overlap between the two. I don't know if you can do everything together. For example, climbing up a vista with a friend that's an explorer when you're a soldier, I don't know if that'll do anything for you. Or I don't know exactly what the extent of the cooperation is going to be, but at least there's some overlap. And they said that through their feedback, they discovered that, hey, you know, some players like to be able to do these control point like missions of the soldier, and so they actually sprinkle these type of mechanics throughout the regular questing so that everyone can experience a little bit of this kind of content. But if you really like that kind of content and want to see a lot more of it, then choose that path. Now, so just so you know how pervasive this system is, they said about 70% of the content in each zone is going to be just normal, you know, your normal questing and, you know, the content that's available to everybody. But 30% of it is going to be tied to a particular path. So that's a pretty big chunk of your experience in each zone is tied to what path you choose. Now, kind of like my thoughts about that are, it's interesting because it definitely adds some replay value, right? So you roll another character, you can choose the same exact race and class, have the same starting point, but if you choose a different path, you just swapped out 30% of your content. That's pretty significant. That's kind of interesting. I like that. It does extend the life of the replay value, and also the fact that it's a completely separate progression path. Kind of, you know, once you hit max level, you know, if you haven't hit max level in your path, it kind of is a built-in alternate advancement system, which is kind of nifty. And I like the reward structure. I like that it's a couple of abilities, maybe like passive things, mounts and, you know, cosmetic stuff. I like those kind of rewards. Those kind of rewards work for me. Now, one of the fears I have, and it's something that I know they're aware of, and I know they're actively working to avoid, is making a particular path necessary for a particular job, right? You don't want a tank, somebody who's going to play like a tanking kind of role. You don't want them, if they're going to be doing raiding, 20-man or 40-man raiding, you don't want them to have to worry about, well, we don't want a tank that's a scientist. No, we want all of our tanks to be soldier path. And now suddenly you feel limited because of the path you chose at level 1, and as of right now, you're not going to be able to change your path. So that's definitely a little bit alarming. Now, I don't think that you should be able to change your path. I like that the decision has weight, but they have to be careful not to put any of those abilities or any perks that actually push it. So, hey, you know, I don't want my healer to be a settler. They have to all be scientists or whatever kind of nonsense, you know, you have in there. Because you know gamers will try to eke out every last bit of min-maxing potential. So if there's any kind of like 1% crit or, you know, those kind of boosts or boons, they have to be careful with it. It also feels like my only other little concern would be, I kind of mentioned it before, how much can you still play with other players in their path content? Like if I'm traveling around with a buddy and I'm a soldier and they're an explorer and they suddenly go on to this, you know, vertical jumping puzzle thing, you know, does that exclude me? How much does that exclude me? Or if I'm going to do an assassination mission on my soldier, you know, can my scientist buddy travel along, or is there going to be points while we're going around in the zone where we're just constantly splitting off? You know, I guess it's not so bad if you know, some of it is overlapped and some of it isn't. But I also feel like it might be the type of thing where you're leveling your path kind of when you're on your own and your buddies aren't around more. We'll have to see once we get more information. But those are my two kind of like little critiques of it. But in general, I think the system looks really cool. There's some unique play in here. I can't wait to see the trailers for the scientist and the Settler. And paths are definitely something I'll talk about more in the future as we get more information. So let me know what you think of paths. Is this a system that you're interested in? Is it getting you excited about the game? Is there information that I haven't really shared? Please share it below in the comments so folks can read it and join in the discussion. That's going to wrap up my very first episode of Nexus Talk. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. Now hit the like button and the favorite button before you go. That helps the video get more search results so people can find this video. Also subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can be notified when future videos are released. It'll show up in your YouTube feed, and there's even an option, if you can find it, to get an email notification whenever I put up a new video. That would be awesome. You can also contact me on Twitter. If you use Twitter, please follow me on Twitter. If you are a Facebook fan, please follow me on Facebook. And I'm also on Google+, and I have a Twitch channel. So I'll put all that information on the screen or down below, or both. And I hope everybody has a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Explorer! Look what I found! Settler! Here! This'll help you! Soldier! Kill it now! Scientist! What does it do?